What's going on, Alabama fans? Chris Daughtry here with the Alabama Football Report. Coming up on today's show, we got the availability report last night on Wednesday evening for Alabama versus Missouri. So we're going to break it down. Missouri has a lot of players listed on the availability report. So that's really going to be a lot of the second half of today's show because Alabama only has 3 players listed on the availability report. Keon Sabb, we heard this week that, he played partially in that Tennessee game with a broken foot, and it eventually just got too much to really bear. Had to come out in that game. He's going to be out for a while, unfortunately, but you got Bray Hubbard going in there. I think he's going to be a pretty solid player back there at safety for you. Cayden Jones has also been out for the last couple of weeks. He hasn't really played that much this year for Alabama, so that's not really going to be that big of an issue this week for Alabama. And then Red Morgan also listed as probable. There was a lot of those defensive backs. You had Zabian Brown and Devontae Smith also got banged up in that game. They were not listed on the availability report, and we'll talk about them here in just a second. But Red Morgan, he's a backup at that Husky position for Devontae Smith. You're really, he's been, getting a lot of different reps in there at different times. And I think for the most part, he has been okay so far this season, only giving up 8 receptions on 15 targets, but averaging 12.6 yards per reception on him. Hasn't given up a touchdown yet per PFF, so that's a very positive thing. But Keon Sabb is definitely a guy that you are going to miss in the lineup. I know he hasn't been as good since that first game of the season. He's given up 1 touchdown. But when it comes to the leadership factor, when it comes to, kind of knowing what to do and being in the right places, Keon Sabb was really getting to that place where he has started, not making the same mistakes over and over again. So it's going to be a real miss for Alabama. And really, it's going to bring up Bray Hubbard as his backup. And honestly, I've got a lot of confidence in Bray Hubbard. He was a guy that came in, he was 2-time player of the year in high school for the state of Mississippi, played, quarterback in high school. Just a phenomenal athlete. Transfers over in the college game to that safety position. And look, he hasn't played a lot of snaps on defense so far this year. Only 89 snaps for him. He's played a lot on special teams. That's really where a lot of his 20 tackles comes from, is on special teams. But look, I really hope he is going to be a guy that can really bring a spark to, this defensive back room. I really do think he is kind of a headhunter in the defensive backfield, so I would love to see him come down the field and, lay the wood to some of those Missouri players. He's only given up 4 receptions, 5 targets, but only for 9 yards. And like I said, one of those tackles when he came in that Tennessee game, he came down from that safety position and really laid the wood to one of those Tennessee players. So, really hope that that's what we can see out of Bray Hubbard. I've mentioned in the past, with the safety play, they're not really coming downfield and really hitting guys with some intensity. I would really love to see that change with Bray Hubbard coming into the field now. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see how he plays, and, we'll definitely keep an eye on him throughout this weekend. So I want you guys to get in the comments. Let's hype up Bray Hubbard. Spam 18 in the comment section for me at the pinned comment of today's video. The most comments will get a free entry into our turnover chain raffle during our watch party this weekend. So whoever comments the most, you might have to comment the number 18 50 times to win that entry. That's totally fine. I want you guys to get down there, hype up Bray Hubbard, and spam 18 at the pinned comment of today's video. Now, I do think we should also mention some of the guys who have been banged up but were not listed on the availability report. Zabian Brown, one of Alabama's freshman corners, only played 15 snaps in that game versus Tennessee. Devontae Smith also came out after only playing 4 snaps in that game. They're not listed. We'll see how much they can play in this game coming up this weekend against Missouri, but look, Alabama's defensive backfield has been banged up a lot, and there's not a lot of bodies in the defensive backfield. So really, really hope that those guys can be healthy, at least healthy enough to be able to contribute in this game this weekend. Then you also have Jaeden Roberts. He's been splitting time a lot with Geno Vandermark the past couple of weeks. He only played 46 snaps against Tennessee. I think Alabama had like 73 offensive snaps or something like that in that game versus Tennessee. And Look, Jaden Roberts is a guy that coming into this season, I thought he could definitely play his way into, first round of the NFL draft category. Well, with, the injuries that he's been dealing with, had that hand surgery earlier on, before the season started. And I'm sure really he's probably dealing more than just that, hand injury. So, I mean, you got Geno Vandermark also has been splitting snaps with him, and you guys know by now how I feel about Geno Vandermark. He's okay at the very most, but I would really, really love to have Jaden Roberts as your right guard 100% of the time. Also want to talk about Jaylen Milroe. Now, Kalen DeBoer has said he is not injured, enough to not be able to play. There's nothing that should be able to keep him off the field. But look, man, last week against Tennessee, he was not very good. The week before that against South Carolina, he was pretty mid as well. And honestly, it's a very, stark difference to the way he started this season. Sure, the first 5 games, maybe he missed some reads here and there. Maybe he missed some throws here and there. But for the most part, Jaylen Milroe was playing at a pretty solid level. You could work with what he was giving you the first 5 games of the season with 73% completion percentage. Really, those 2 interceptions weren't really his fault. I think it was in that Georgia game. C.J. Dupree, the ball went right off his hands into the Georgia defender's hands. And then also that second interception in that Vandy game went right off Ryan Williams' forehead up into the air. Pick 6 for Vandy. Those weren't really his fault. And, just the missing wide open wide receivers the last 2 weeks by a pretty large margin. It's not like he's barely missing guys. I don't think Jaylen Milroe is 100%. And I will say this. I agree with you guys when it comes to Jaylen Milroe. If he is hurt enough to be putting up those kinds of numbers that are, very detrimental to the team, look, I don't want him playing if he is banged up that bad to be playing that bad. Ty Simpson, I've got a lot of confidence in him. I know a lot of you guys have a lot of confidence in him as well. A lot of you guys probably have more confidence in him than you do Jaylen Milroe. But look, I think he's a really good player too. All of his touchdowns so far in his career are rushing touchdowns, so that's also something I think to make note of. Hasn't thrown an interception so far yet in college, but he did have that, whatever it was, 78-yard carry versus Chattanooga last year where he dropped the ball before he got to the goal line. So I would hope Ty Simpson has kind of, learned from that kind of mistakes and stuff. And then last year he also missed some throws. I think he had a injury to his pointer finger on his throwing hand as well. So he was kind of throwing high on some guys, but I do like Ty Simpson. If there, is an opportunity, I think Jaylen Milroe has to go out there and he has to play lights out in the first half if he doesn't want to get pulled this week. Make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. We will be live for this Alabama versus Missouri game, just like we are every single week for these Alabama games. Start time 1 hour before kickoff, so 1:30 Central Time. And like I mentioned before, we're also going to be giving away our turnover chain, doing a little raffle there as well. We're going to have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun every single week when we do these watch parties, so do not miss out. Make sure you guys are subscribed right now. I want to give a shout out here to our friends over at Prize Picks. They are the sponsor of today's show. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in over 30 different states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy sports platform with an insurance policy. So your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves the field in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks keeps your lineup live. One of my favorite things on Prize Picks is the flex play. You can get one wrong on the flex play. You can do the power play where you get more right and you get more return on your play. But look, this is my play this week, Jaylen Milroe. I think he really has to have a game this week where he steps up and really goes crazy. I've got the more than. Hopefully, we'll talk about Missouri's injuries here in just a second. They got a lot of injuries in that secondary. So I'm going to go with a more than on passing yards for Jaylen Milroe, as well as the more than on receiving yards for Ryan Williams, and then Ashton Jeanty. He's been absolutely incredible so far this year for Boise State. I'm going to go with a more than on him on rushing yards. 193.5 is absolutely ridiculous, but I definitely think he can definitely get there for them. Download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even have to win your lineup to get the $50 bonus. One more time, that's promo code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. On to the Missouri lineup now. Man, they have been absolutely ravaged by injuries on this injury report. They have 14 players listed on their injury report so far on that Wednesday one. 6 on the offense, 6 on the defense. And, man, we're going to start off with the defense first. And 4 of their top 5 safeties are going to be listed on this availability report for this game. Khalil Jacobs, I know a lot of us probably remember him. He was, a transfer from South Alabama, was thinking about coming to Alabama, ended up going to Missouri. He's played 139 snaps so far for them this year. Definitely somebody that they have used a lot this year at that linebacker spot. And then you have Joe Moore. He's going to be out. Darius Smith is going to be out. Sidney Williams, Trevez Johnson, Dalen Carnell, and Joseph Charleston, all safeties going to be questionable for Missouri in this game. And look, this is the 4 of their top 5 safeties, possibly could not play in this game. I think that is a really, really big deal for Missouri going into this game here. And Khalil Jacobs, look, I mean, he's played 6 games for him so far this year. He is definitely somebody that they want out on the field, but unfortunately for Missouri, he is not going to be out there. He's going to be out for this game. So hopefully Alabama can go out there and really take advantage of some of these injuries that they have on the defensive side of the ball. Some of the PFF stats for their starting safeties here. Trevez Johnson, really been one of their better guys at safety. He has played 203 snaps for him. Carnell has played 245 snaps for him. They really rotate a lot of safeties in this Missouri defense. So, if some of these guys are going to be out, maybe none of the guys are going to be out. But, it is definitely going to be something that hopefully Alabama can take advantage of in this game. So prediction time here. Get in the comment section. Let me know, who do you think scores the first touchdown for Alabama on Saturday? Let me know in the comment section. Is it going to be Jaylen Milroe? Is it going to be one of the running backs? Maybe it's even somebody on defense with a pick 6. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section right now. Going over to the offensive side of the ball for Missouri here, they got 7 more players listed here on their injury report. Sam Horn, one of the backup quarterbacks, he's going to be out for this game. And then Mookie Cooper, also listed as doubtful. He's played a lot. He's their number 3 wide receiver so far this year. Nate Noel, their leading rusher, he is listed as doubtful for this game. 231 snaps for him this year. And look, he doesn't have a lot of touchdowns, but this guy is absolutely explosive for them. And it's going to be a really, really big miss if he is not able to get out there. Pete Thamel yesterday reported that it is trending towards he is not going to play. So that is a very negative thing for Missouri in this game. And then starting quarterback Brady Cook, also listed as doubtful. He had an ankle injury in that Auburn game, led that comeback in that game. Then after the game, actually had to go to the hospital. And look, Brady Cook this year has not been as good as he was last year, but definitely still a guy that, look, I mean, he has started every single game for the past 2 years for Missouri. So, he knows this offense. He knows how to be extremely efficient in this offense. Takes care of the ball relatively well. Only 1 interception for him so far this season. So, if he cannot go out there and play for Missouri this week, you have our old friend Drew Pine, a.k.a. Tyler Buckner's backup at Notre Dame. He actually lost the job to Tyler Buckner at Notre Dame. So that should really tell you all you need to know about Drew Pine. He's kind of, journeyed around, started off at Notre Dame, then went to Arizona State last year, only played 2 games at Arizona State before getting, banged up enough to where he couldn't play for the rest of the season. So, in 2022, he had an okay year, but like I said, he ended up losing that job to Tyler Buckner at Notre Dame. So, I mean, if Brady Cook cannot go, this is the guy that Missouri is going to have to go with at that quarterback position. And then Cayden Green, also listed as questionable for Missouri. He is their left guard, starting left guard. Started off last year. He's only a sophomore. Last year he played for Oklahoma. It was very, very good for them. And he's been pretty good so far this year for Missouri too. You see his run and pass block grades there. Anything in the 70s is pretty damn good along the offensive line. He right now is listed as questionable. So usually that tends to, being a positive thing once they kind of go on throughout the week. If he cannot go, Logan Reichert is his backup. He's played 43 snaps at that left guard position. So we'll see what happens. Maybe Alabama can take advantage of that offensive line as well. Let me know in the comments, guys, who you got in this game. Type A if you think it's Alabama, or type M if you think it's Missouri. I want you guys to flood the comments with all your A's right now.